So we have taken public static example, integer a value equal to 0, integer b value equal to 0. Please mute your mics, everyone.
Satish, we don't see your screen.
Please mute your mics.
To see your screen.
Now, let us see this. Public integer a value equal to 0, public static integer b value equal to 0, public void add. So whenever we call add method, value of a is increased by 10, value of b is increased by 10. So what I'm doing here, I'm trying to execute this program. If I want to execute this program, what I was supposed to do, create a object for the class. Static example. One more I have created. So how many objects I have created? 2 objects. Let me create one more object. 3 objects I have created. Then I'm saying s1 dot add. When I say s1 dot add, what does it mean? Use the data from object s1 and run the method called add. When I say s1 dot add, use the data from s1 and perform the operation. While executing the add operation, if you require any data, take the data from s1. When I say s1 dot add, while running the add method, if you require any data, collect the data from s1. Right, boss? Then when I go for this, system dot debug, so what is the value of s1? Because a is a non-static variable, s1 will have its own a value, s2 will have its own a value, s3 will have its own a value. But when you look at the b value, it is a static. It is common for everyone. If you define any variable as static, you are supposed to invoke it with the name of class. So system.debug, system.debug. The b value doesn't belongs to an object, it belongs to class. So static example dot b. Now a1 I told s1 dot a value from s1, a value from s2, a value from s3. But when you look at the b is not for object, it's for the class. Now a1 will refer to, s1 will refer to same b value, s2 will refer to same b value, s3 will refer to same b value. So how the static variables are referred? Static variables are referred with the help of class name. Right. Now look at the next execution. Then I told once again s1 dot add. Again I am calling s1 dot add. So whose data will be used? S1's data will be used. Then I told s2 dot add. Whose data will be used? S2 data will be used. This is how I created. Now look at this. So what we have, S1 add method. When you call S1 dot add, a value in the S1 is modified. A2 S value, okay, A2, what is that? S2 a value is 0, S3 a value is 0, value of B is 10. When I told S1 dot add method again, a value in the S1 is increased to 20, S2 a value is 0, S3 a value is 0, and B value is 20. When I told S2 dot add, then what happened? A value of SC1 is 20 only, it is not modified. Okay, S2 a value is 10 and S3 a value is 0, B value is 30. Now let A1 modify, let S1 modify, let S2 modify, let S3 modify, same value of B will be modified. But when you look at the A, every object has its own A value because non-static variable. For every class, non-static variables, for every class, non-static variables will be there and static variables will be there. When you create an object, memory will be allocated for, when you create an object, memory will be allocated for only non-static variables. For a static variable, memory will be allocated only once, that is at the time of creating a object. When you create an object, memory will be allocated for only non-static variables and memory for the static variables will be allocated only at the time of creating an object. I hope you are good with this. People have followed this, right? So what is a static? When you create a variable as a static, memory will be allocated only once. That is at the time of creating, at the time of loading the program only, object will be created. At the time of loading the program only, it is going to allocate the memory for static variables. I hope you are good with this. Okay, let me give you some theoretical example. People have followed this example. Follow this example. Right. Now create the same execution. Create the same execution. Create the same example, everyone. Create the same example. Take A value, B value. Create one variable as static, another variable as non-static. Define the same example, everyone. Whatever the example I explained, try to create the same example. Whatever the example I have created, whatever the example I have explained, create the same example. So what is static here? Static is a keyword. Static is a keyword used along with variables and methods. Static variables. Static variables. If you define any variable as static, memory will be allocated only once for the variable. This variable will be common, can be accessed by all the objects of the class. Memory for this variable will be assigned at the time of static variables are accessed using class name. For non-static variables, memory will be allocated number of times. Memory will be allocated number of times based on number of objects. This is how we have created. So when you say static variables, memory will be allocated only at the time of only once, that is at the time of loading a class. Memory will be allocated only once, that is at the time of loading the class. Memory will be allocated only once, that is at the time of loading the class. Memory will be allocated only once, that is at the time of loading the class. Memory will be allocated only once, that is at the time of loading the class. Again I repeat, memory will be allocated only once, that is at the time of loading the class. That is at the time of loading the class. And the static variables are accessed using what? Class name. Static variables will be accessed with what? Class name. Memory for the static variables will be allocated only once. Memory for the non-static variables will be allocated number of times, depends upon number of objects you have created. Static variables are accessed with the class name. Non-static variables are accessed with the object. Right. When you get into the Salesforce, Visualforce and Apex, we'll see more number of examples. Okay. Now, come back to the next one. Right, we have seen about this. Next concept is.
Satish, can you just show me the example once again?
Static example S1, S2, S3. How many objects I created here? 3 objects. So when you create a static, memory will be allocated for non-static variables. A value is non-static, so A value is 0. For here, A value is 0. A value is 0. For static variable, B is a static. So B memory will be allocated only once. Okay. So what is the value of B? 0. Now when I say S1 dot add, what does it mean? Use the data from S1. So when I say add, S1 value equal to S1 dot A value plus. So what is the value we are going to get? That is how we got this value as 10. Now what is the value of S2? 0. S3? 0. Now the B is common for every object. So this we are going to get as 10. Again I told use data from S2. So s1 dot a value equal to s1 dot a value plus. So what is the value of s1 dot a value? 10. 10 plus 10, we are going to get 20. S2 a value is 0 because we didn't make any modification on S2. B is common. What is the value of B? 10. 10 plus 10. Then when you say S2 dot add, use data from S2. So S2 dot a value equal to S2 dot a value plus 10. Then what is the value of S1 dot a? S1 dot a value is 20. Here we made the value of S2. Okay, S1 is 20. Now S2 is 0 plus 10. What is the value of S2 in the previous step? 0. 0 plus 10, we are getting 10. S3, B value, B plus 10. So we are going to get 30. So when you say non-static, object dot, object always refers to non-static variables. When you say object dot, any operation, refer to the data from that particular object. If the data is not there in the object, then go to the static and verify. Are you clear? Right, Amma? Now, let us go to the next one. We are trying to understand next concept of overloading. What is this overloading and why we are going to use it? Concept of overloading. Now,
Satish,
yes, make it fast.
can you explain?
Yeah.
Can you explain once again that whenever a class is loaded, how this memory allocation of static variables?
It's internal process. Memory allocation will be internal process. Okay. So when the class is loaded, when the class is loaded, on the name of class, memory will be allocated. This is the internal process. When object is created, memory will be allocated for objects. Just to make it understandable to you, I'm just drawing and showing. It is actually an internal process. Right, Edama?
Okay.
Now, let us go to the next one. What is overloading? What is overloading? Overloading means, look at the format. Within a same class, if you define more than one method with the same name, but different number of parameters, different type of parameters, different order of parameters, then we call it as overloading. Let us say I have a show method. How many parameters I have in this method? How many parameters I have? 0 parameters. I have defined one more show method. How many parameters I have? Method name is same, but number of parameters are 0 here, 1 here. Now what is that? Name of the method is same, but number of parameters are, okay, let us say number of parameters are only 1. How many parameters I have? Only 1. But if you look at that, first one is passing integer, second one is passing string. So if you have more than one method in the same class with the same name but different number of parameters, different type of parameters, different number of parameters, different type of parameters. Now 0 parameters, next we have 1 parameter. Third one also have 1 parameter. But second is integer, third one is string. Now I am giving next. Show string name. Now, how many parameters I have? 2 parameters. Now, if you look at the fourth one and fifth one, method name is same. Number of parameters are 2. Here also number of parameters are 2. Number of parameters are 2. In the second one and third one and fourth one, if you look at this, name and age name. Number of parameters 2, 1 and 2, 1 and 2. Same name, same number of parameter. But type of parameter and order of parameter. Now what is the order? They are expecting a string followed by integer. Okay, in the last one they are expecting integer followed by string. So order of the parameters are not same. So within the same class, if you define any method with the same name with a different number of parameters, different type of parameters, different order of parameters, we call it as method overloading. If you apply the same concept for a constructor, it is called constructor overloading. So let me define this once again. If you define more than one method in the same class with same name with different number of parameters, different type of parameters, different order of parameters, then we call it as if you define more than one method in the same class with the same name and different the same name but different number of parameters, but with a different number of parameters or different type of parameters or different order of parameters, then we call it as method overloading. Within the same class, if you define more than one method with the same name with a different number of parameters, different type of parameters, different order of parameters, then we are going to call it as method overloading. So let me define here. Public void so with 0 parameters. Public void system.debug one integer parameter. Public void system.debug so with one string parameter. public void show system.debug one integer. Now I have defined next one. This is how we have defined. So what happened in this case? We have defined more than one method in the same class. Name of the method is show. Name of the method is show. But if you look at number of parameters are changing, type of parameters are changing, order of the parameters are changing. We have more than one method in the same class with a number of parameters, okay, different, type of parameters different, order of the parameters are different. Then this is called method overloading. In the same class, if you have more than one method with the same name but with a different number of parameters, different type of parameters, different order of parameters, then we call it as method overloading. Then we call it as method overloading. Then how we are going to use it? How we are going to use it? You are supposed to understand how we are supposed to use it. If you want to invoke, it is based on, if you are trying to invoke it, we are supposed to understand how we are invoking it. So look at this point. If I want to invoke it, let us see the execution format. Overload example. Then if I say e dot show, so I'm calling a show method with 0 parameters. First it checks, is there any method called show? Yes, I have a method called show. When you have a method called show, it is going to check, do I have any parameters in the method? No parameters. So show method with 0 parameters. Show method with 0 parameters. Then go to the next one. E dot show. We are calling a show method with integer parameter. We are calling a show method with integer parameter. We are calling a show method with one integer parameter. Invoke a method called show with integer parameter. Invoke a method called show with integer parameter. So what happened? Second one will be called e dot show Ravi. So we are calling what? Show method with one string parameter. Show method with string and integer. So what was this? When you are calling a method, first it is going to check name of the method. With this name, do you have? With this name, do you have any method? If method is there, check how many parameters are there in the method. Now I require 0 parameters method. If there, call it. Not there, throw error message. Call number of parameters. Check with these many parameters, do you have the method or not? If you have a method, then check what is the order of the parameters. So name of the method, number of parameters, type of parameters, order of parameters. That is important. I hope you are good with this. Right? Why are you defining this? To make it user friendly. Now, if you don't give any data, with a default data, I want to create a record. If you give only some data, remaining data will be a default data. If you give a complete data, with whatever the data you have given, I will calculate. Now, different people will have different perception. Now, if you don't give me any data, I will take the default values and calculate. If you give me only partial data, remaining data I am going to take as default. If you give me complete data, with your data only I am going to run the operation. Right? So everybody may give the complete data, may not give complete data, or sometimes they may not enter the data. In that case, how to perform? Right, boss? Are you getting my point? Right. Now, when you are searching for a bus in the, I opened a red bus site. I am searching. Somebody may search from date. Somebody may search from to, okay, from to date. Somebody may search from to only, no date. Somebody may search from to date. Somebody will search from to. Now, how many types of searches are there? Two types of search. If they are giving only from and to, I need to perform one operation. If they are giving from to date, there is a different operation. Are you getting? If they are giving from to date type of bus, they are looking for only sleeper bus. Then what they are giving? Three inputs they are giving. That somebody is saying from to date type of bus, and they are looking for only 2+1 seater. Now everybody will not be giving all the data while they are searching for a bus. Somebody may give only from and to. Somebody may search based on the from to and date. Somebody may search from to date type of bus. Somebody may search from to type of bus from this particular time. Now, so user to user, the search operation will be different. So to make it user friendly, the same operation is defined in multiple ways. If we give only from and to, one type of search. Somebody give from to and date, another type of search. Somebody give from to and date and type of bus, different type of search. Are you getting my point? Right. So everybody will not be performing the operation the same way. So if you are giving a flexibility to the user, boss, I am giving you three procedures. You can choose any one of the procedure and perform. Operation is same, but the way operation is performed is slightly different. Are you getting my point? When you want the same operation to be defined in multiple ways, then we go for overloading. We go for overloading. Right, boss? This is also called compile time. Compile time. It is also called compile time verification. This will be verified at the compile time. If there are any errors, they will be verified at the compile time only. They will be verified at the compile time. At the time of saving the program only, they say the following method exists, following method doesn't exist. Right, boss? Okay. Now look at the format. Let me define an example. Everyone has followed this. Concept is clear for everyone. The use cases with respect to our functionality will be learning down the line. We're just trying to hit all the topics which we are going to use in the Apex programming. With respect to our Salesforce programming, what are the topics that we are going to use? I'm just touching every topic for awareness.
Satish, is there a limit to write overloading methods, or you can write as many as you want?
You can write as many as you want. There's no restriction. But there cannot be two methods in the class. No two methods in the class. No, please mute your mic, ma. No two methods in the class will have same name with the same number of parameters, same type of parameters, same order of parameters. There should be some difference. Now, no two methods in the same class. No two methods in the same class will have. No two methods in the same class will have. Okay, same name. Mute your mic, Ritu. No two methods in the class will have same name with same number of parameters, same type of parameters, same order of parameters. Okay, so if I try to define one more method here, it is an error. It is an error. So you can write n number of methods in the same class with with a different number of parameters, different type of parameters, different order of parameters. But no two methods can have same points. No two methods can have no two methods can have same properties. Now I can define, I took one parameter. Somebody can take like that. I can define number of some show method takes account, some show method takes contact, some show method takes opportunity, some show method take case. I can define n number of methods in the same class with the concept of overloading. It is also called compile time polymorphism. It is also called compile time polymorphism. What is the meaning of polymorphism? Representing the same action in multiple forms. This is also called right, boss. I hope everyone is good with this. So what are the things that we have seen as of now? We have seen about creation of methods, creation of classes, creation of object, constructor, then static. Then we have seen about this. We have seen about overloading. Right. So we are not interested on all the topics of OOPS. We are only interested on the topics which we are going to use in Salesforce. Okay. So we are only touching the learning the OOPS concepts which are required for Salesforce. Right. Now let us go to the next example. Our next example is interfaces. In the Salesforce, we are going to use interfaces. But the point here is, we don't define any new interfaces. You are not allowed to use, you are not allowed to create any new interfaces. But you are supposed to use interfaces developed by the Salesforce. Already, Salesforce company developed some interfaces and given to you as predefined interfaces. You are only allowed to use them. You cannot create your own. You are not supposed to create your own. You are only supposed to use what is given by the Salesforce. Generally, when you go to OOPS, we'll be saying we will define our own interface and we'll use it. But in this Salesforce, we are not going to define. We are going to use which are already existing. More probably 6 to 7 concepts are there. Only those 7 concepts will be using. Right. So first, let us understand what is this interface and how it can be used. Now, let me give you a generalized example to get the concept right. I'll give you a generalized example to get the concept right. Now, look at this. Now, I have just understand the concept. I'm just giving a non-technically. First, get the concept, then we go for technical terminology. Now, right. Now, these are the group of people. Sham says, I am the boyfriend of this Divya. Ram says, I am a boyfriend of this Sita. And Kiran says, I am a boyfriend of this Savya. Now, if you want to say, I am a boyfriend of this girl, there are some services you have to define. If you don't provide those services, you cannot use the name called a boyfriend, right? There are some mandatory services. Okay. Now, additional services are up to your choice, but there are some mandatory services. If you don't provide these mandatory services, you cannot use this term called I am a boyfriend. What are those mandatory services, boss? Now, if you are trying to name, now you want to take this brand of boyfriend, there are some mandatory services. It is automatically understood. If you say, I am a boyfriend of this girl, it is automatically understood that you are providing these 3 services. right? No need to tell again that I am providing this service. It is a must. It is a must. Without providing these three services, you cannot become a boyfriend. Are you getting my point? When you say I am a boyfriend, automatically you are providing these services. It is automatically understood. What is that? Let us say mandatory service. Let us give some services. What are they, boss? Transport. Recharge, you are still in 1930 batch, boss. What else? Let us say charting, shopping. Now, so if Sham says I am boyfriend, automatically understood that this guy is providing these three. Without providing these three services, you cannot be called as a boyfriend. Now, it doesn't mean that only these three services has to be provided. If you want to provide extra services, it's your choice. These three are mandatory. These three are mandatory services. Apart from this, if you want to go for extra services, it's your choice. Are you getting? Now they're saying these three services has to be provided, but how they have to be provided can be defined based on the person. Now, Sham has to provide these three services, Ram has to provide these three services, Kiran has to provide these three services. How you provide, no definition. Okay, the service is mandatory, but how you provide will change from person to person. Let us say Sham, he is booking a Ola cab and providing a transport. Ram, he is picking and dropping. Kiran, he gifted a car. Now all the three people provided what? All the three people provided transportation. But the way you are providing is your choice. But it is a must that you have to provide the service. Now, what interface says? The list of services, what you are supposed to define, they are going to give. Interface says list of services. But it will not say how the service has to be implemented. Interface says list of services, but it will not say how it has to be implemented. Okay, the person who is using this interface, he has a choice to define his own way of implementation. But the name of the service is fixed. Name of the service is fixed. But the way you are going to implement is your choice. Now, let us say chatting. This guy is chatting on WhatsApp. This guy is chatting on, some Google chat. And this guy is chatting on, from Facebook. Now, you are providing a service of chatting. Somebody is chatting through WhatsApp. Somebody chatting through Google Hangout. Somebody is in-person chatting. Now we have a shopping. Somebody taking to a shopping mall. Somebody given a credit card. Boss, you shop. Third person, they told, boss, shopping will make online shopping. Now what is doing? Providing the service of shopping. Somebody is taking to a mall. Somebody is doing online. Somebody gave a credit card and told boss, use. Are you getting my point here? So what was this? Service is mandatory. But how you provide these services depends upon the person who is using it. Are you clear? Now, is there any restriction that you have to provide only these three? These three are mandatory. Apart from these three, you want to give any extra service? No problem, you can give. But these three are mandatory services. Are you getting my point? Now, let us get the same concept technically. So, interface. Interface is a collection of services. Services means it is nothing but methods. Collection of methods without implementation. Without implementation. So how it will be? Interface. Now, what they are giving? Only the name of the methods they are giving. Are they saying what the show method will do? Are they saying what the create method will do? No. They are only giving what? List of service names. Now, who will define this service? The class which is using this interface that has to define this service. If a class want to use this interface, how will you use? If a class want to use this interface, class will implement interface. Class will implement interface. Now look at this. Now we had a interface here. Interface. They told public void right. Now I have a class, public class ICACI implements. So class, how the class will use the interface? Class will implement interface. Class will implement interface. Class will implement interface. Class implements interface. Class implements interface. Right, boss? Now everyone write a small code. Create a class. Create a Apex class which will implement invoice interface. Create a Apex class which will implement my service interface. Create a Apex class, write the code. Create a Apex class which will implement schedulable interface. Create a Apex class which will implement viewable interface. Create a Apex class which will implement write the code for this. Public class implements public class example implements example
Hello, Satish.
yeah.
The word interface and implements are same. Both the words are same or different?
See, if class want to use an interface, it will use implements. You need to have a defining interface will be done with the keyword called interface. Now what I am defining, if already there is an interface, how to use it I am defining. I am not defining interface here. What I am defining? I am defining a class which is using existing interface. Now I am saying create a Apex class which will implement invoice interface. We are assuming that there is already an interface called invoice. How to use it? We are assuming that there is an interface called my service. I am using it. Right, boss? I hope you are clear. Am I clear with the point? So we are assuming already that the interface is existing. How a class is implementing? An example, just writing a syntax. So public class example. Class, how the class will use interface? Class will implement. If interface is global, class also should be global. If interface is a public, class can also be a public. Okay. This is the basic structure of class implementing interface. Okay. Now,
Satish, implement is a keyword here.
exactly. Exactly. It's a keyword to implement an interface. Now let us see. Now, class implementing what? Interface. Now, see boss. Class is a keyword. Interface is a keyword. Implements is also a keyword. If you want to define a class, you give class name. If you want to define interface, you give interface. If a class want to use an interface, class name implements. This is the story. Class is a keyword, interface is a keyword, implements is a keyword. If you want to define a class name, interface name. Now class want to use the interface, class implements interface. I hope you are good. Now let us see this. We have assumed that there is a banking interface with two methods. So what the class will do? Any class which is implementing an interface, has to define every method in. Now what is the method we have in interface? Deposit. So you are supposed to define your logic here. The class should define the logic of deposit. Every method that is defined in the interface should be implemented in the now along with that methods. If you want to define your own methods, it's your choice. Those two methods are mandatory. Apart from those two methods, if you want to define your own methods, it's your choice. So when a class implements any interface, every method in the interface should be defined by the class. Every method in the interface should be defined by the class. Are you clear about this? Are you clear? Okay. Now let me give you some examples here. Create a Apex class which will implement my service interface, which has my service interface. So my service interface, how it is? Public. Create the class, everyone. Create Apex class which will implement my service interface. In the my service interface, we have two methods: show and create. public class example Why did I take public? Because the interface is public. Public void. Now if I give floor bracket, it is a body. Then some logic. System.debug. Any logic, your choice. Public void. Can the class can have its own methods? Yes. Okay, class can have its own methods apart from those methods in the interface. Create a Apex class. Now, what is the advantage of this? So, what is the advantage? The system will know where is the logic. If everyone follows the same name and say, boss, you want to get the data, that should be in start. You want to write the logic, that should be in execute. You want to send an email, that should be in finish. Everybody follow the same, then system can understand where the data is coming from, where the logic is, where the email program is. If everybody follow the same, easy for us. If everybody is defining their own names, then it becomes difficult for the system to understand where are you fetching the data, where are you writing the logic, where are you sending the email. Are you getting? If everyone is following the same name for one type of operation, now anybody who want to fetch the data from database, that should be in this method only. Anybody who want to write a logic, that should be in this method only. Then what happened? When I look at the program, I know where to look for the data, where to look for the logic, where to look for the email program, right? So maintaining a common naming conventions will be easy for the system to understand and implement them. Right, boss? So create Apex class which implements now create this.
Can I ask one question?
Yeah, go ahead, Emma.
Okay, in this interface, the second method, which is generate order date,
Okay.
when I'm implementing in my class, can
Okay.
I have another parameter to this method?
No. Exact the same one has to be used.
Okay, thank you.
Whatever the signature we have given here, the same signature should be used. So whatever we have given in the interface, same method should be given.
That means we cannot overload?
We cannot overload. You see, overload is again a different concept. Now look at the point. Look at the point. Now you are asking a different point here. Now public class example now what is your point here? When I say implements, first you have to define these three. After defining these three, if you want to define any extra, it's your choice. Nobody is obstructing it. Now you define these three. After defining these three, you want to add any extra methods, you can add it. Let us say public void but without writing this, you cannot define this. You define the method, what is there in the interface, you define. After writing those three methods, whatever the extra things you want to write, you can write. But without defining those three, you cannot write extra. What my point, boss?
Yes.
I hope everyone is good with this. So basically, what is in it? Yes.
One last thing, Satish, sorry. That means the sequence or the order of the interface method does not make any difference. We can just write it whenever we want, but it has to be present in the class which is implementing that interface.
Now,
okay.
At the end of the game, every method in the interface should be there in the class. Okay, order is not important. Order is not important. Every method in the class should be there in the every method in the interface should be defined in the class. It is what is important. Now, in which order you define this, it doesn't make any difference basically. Right? Every method which is there in the interface should be there in the class. Okay. So basically, now tell me, what is an interface? Interface is a collection of unimplemented methods. Interface is a collection of unimplemented methods. Can we create our own interfaces in the Salesforce? No, you cannot. You are supposed to use only existing interfaces which are defined by the Salesforce. When you go to the other technologies, you will be able to define your own interfaces. Here we don't use. There are basically 5 to 7 interfaces which are there, which we use. That's all. So if you know how to use those 7 interfaces, that is the end of our game. Okay. So what was this? What is interface? Yes, Amma.
Can we implement multiple interfaces?
Yes. We'll be coming to that point. It is a collection of unimplemented methods. Collection of unimplemented methods. Any class implements is a keyword which should be used by Apex class, which uses the interface. Syntax class name. Next, any class can implement more than one interface. Class can implement more than one interface. Class implements more than one interface. When a class implement an interface, it has to define every method in the interface. When a class implements an interface, it has to define every method in the interface. When a class implements an interface, it has to define every method in the interface. It has to define every method in the interface. So in the Salesforce, We cannot define our own interfaces. Some of the interfaces in Apex. Some of the interfaces in the Apex are database dot these are the interfaces which are there and which will be using. Next, boss, we cannot create a object for the interface. If you want to use the interface, we have to create a class where the class will implement the interface. Then we have to create an object for the class. How do you use the class? How do you use the class? Create a object, object dot variable, object dot method. How do you use class? It's a class. Class is implementing an interface. But what is that? It is a class. How do you use a class? Create an object for the class and use it. We cannot create an object for the interface. So you cannot use interface directly. If you want to use the interface, it should be used along with the class only. You cannot use the interface directly. It has to be used along with the class only. Class will implement the interface, create an object for the class and use it. How do you use a method in the class? Object dot method, right? We cannot create object for the interface. Interface should be used along with the class. I hope everyone is good with this, right? So what was that? Some interfaces are there. If you want to use those interfaces, class implement interface. When a class is implementing an interface, every method in the interface should be defined by the class. Once it is defined, create an object for the class, object dot method name. I hope you are good. Everyone has followed this. Am I clear? Right? So what is an interface? It is a collection of unimplemented methods. Can I create an object for the interface? No. Can I create an object for the interface? No. Next, one more point. If the interface is global, class which is implementing should also be right, Amma? Right. So any class which you want to use the interface, what it is supposed to do? Class implements interface. When a class is implementing an interface, every method in the interface should be defined by the class. When a class is using an interface, every method in the interface should be defined by the class. Once you implement, it is a class. How do you use a class? Create an object and use it. I hope you are good. Clear for everyone? So that's all from my end for the day. We'll continue tomorrow.